Hey everyone! Hey everyone, what's up? Welcome back to the channel. Get ready. A virtual road trip to the heart of the South. Peach State, Georgia. I'm so excited for this one. I've been digging into some facts about Georgia. My mind is blown. It's more than just peaches and Coca-Cola. Counting down my top 3. Most interesting, most surprising, wait really, facts. Stunning mountains, mysterious swamps, pivotal role in American history, booming modern-day industries. Georgia is packed with stories you won't believe. All right, let's kick things off with our number 3 fact, and it's all about the great outdoors. When you think of Georgia, you might picture rolling hills and those famous Georgia pines, right? And you're not wrong. First up, let's talk mountains. In the northeastern part of the state, you've got the southern end of the legendary Blue Ridge Mountains, and sitting right at the top, literally, is Brasstown Ball. This isn't just a big hill, folks. It's the highest natural point in the entire state. Imagine standing up there over 4,784 feet above sea level. On a clear day, they say you can see 4 different states: Georgia, Tennessee, North Carolina, South Carolina. How cool is that? It's a must-see if you're ever in the area, a real panoramic spectacle. But here's where it gets really interesting. You go from these majestic mountain peaks and you travel south. You leave the crisp mountain air behind and enter a world that feels ancient, mysterious, and a little bit spooky. I'm talking about the one and only Okefenokee Swamp. This place is unbelievable. The Okefenokee is one of North America's largest and most well-preserved freshwater swamp ecosystems. It's huge. We're talking about almost 500,000 acres of wetlands, winding waterways, and floating islands of peat. The name Okefenokee is thought to come from a Native American word meaning land of the trembling earth. It's because the ground literally trembles when you walk on it. This isn't your average park pond. This is a wild, untamed wilderness. It's home to thousands of alligators. Yes, thousands. And hundreds of species of birds, fish, and amphibians. It's like a real-life Jurassic Park, but with more Spanish moss and fewer velociraptors. Taking a boat tour through the Blackwater channels is an experience you will never, ever forget. It's so quiet and still. You can just hear the birds, the insects, the splash of a turtle diving off a log. It's a completely different universe from the bustling cities or the high-altitude mountains. It feels prehistoric. The contrast between the high peaks of the Blue Ridge and the low, watery world of the Okefenokee is just incredible. And we haven't even gotten to the coast yet. All right, moving on to our number 2 fact. And this one is a deep dive into history. Georgia's story is not just a state story. It's a huge part of the American story. It's a past filled with revolutionary ideas, immense struggle, and profound change that has echoed across the entire country and even the world. It's a history that is both complicated and incredibly inspiring. Let's start at the very beginning. Georgia has the distinction of being one of the original 13 colonies. It was founded in 1733 by James Oglethorpe and was named, of course, after King George II of Great Britain. Initially, Oglethorpe had a pretty noble vision for Georgia. He imagined it as a place for England's worthy poor to get a fresh start, a sort of social experiment. He even banned slavery and hard liquor in the beginning. Now, those rules didn't last, and the colony's path changed. But that founding ideal is a fascinating piece of its origin story. It was meant to be a buffer zone protecting the other colonies from Spanish Florida. Now let's talk about that famous nickname, the Peach State. It's on the license plates, it's in the songs, it's everywhere. And yes, Georgia grows some fantastic peaches. They are delicious, juicy, and a perfect summer treat. But here's a fun little twist. Georgia isn't actually the biggest peach producer in the country. States like California and even its neighbor South Carolina often grow more. So why the nickname? It's all about marketing and reputation. In the years after the Civil War, Georgia farmers were looking for crops to replace cotton, and they found that Georgia's climate was perfect for growing high-quality peaches. They marketed them so well that Georgia peaches became synonymous with the best quality you could find. They built a brand, and it stuck. So it's not about quantity, it's about quality and a legacy of sweetness. But Georgia's history has a much deeper, more somber, and ultimately more powerful side. The state was at the very heart of the Civil War and later the Civil Rights Movement. You simply cannot tell the story of the fight for equality and justice in America without talking about Georgia, and specifically about Atlanta. This city became the cradle of a revolution. This is, after all, the birthplace of one of the most important figures of the 20th century, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. He was born in Atlanta, he preached in Atlanta at the Ebenezer Baptist Church, and he is buried in Atlanta. His presence, his spirit, and his work are woven into the very fabric of the city and the state. You can feel it when you're there, walking through the Martin Luther King Jr. National Historical Park is an incredibly moving experience. It's a reminder of the long and difficult struggle for civil rights and the incredible courage of those who led the way. The movement wasn't just Dr. King, of course. Atlanta was a major hub for organizations like the Southern Christian Leadership Conference. Figures like John Lewis, another giant of the movement, represented Georgia in Congress for decades, continuing that fight. That profound historical significance, especially its role as the cradle of the civil rights movement, is our number 2 fact. We've covered nature and history, and now it's time for our number 1 most interesting fact about Georgia. And this one is all about the present and the future. It's about how Georgia has become a modern-day powerhouse. Let's start with the big one, business. Ever had a Coca-Cola? Its headquarters are right in Atlanta. Ever flown on a Delta airplane? Ever shopped at the Home Depot? How about watched CNN? Or caught a package from UPS? All of these global giants call the Atlanta area home. This concentration of corporate power has turned the city into a magnet for talent and innovation. And speaking of flying, let's talk about the airport. Hartsfield-Jackson Atlanta International Airport has held the title of the busiest airport in the world. More passengers travel through Atlanta than through London, Beijing, or Dubai. It's a non-stop beehive of activity connecting people to and from literally everywhere. Think about that. The gateway to the world is in Georgia. Now, let's shift gears from boardrooms and runways to something a little more glamorous. Hollywood. Or, as it's increasingly being called, Yollywood. Over the last decade, Georgia has become a massive center for film and TV production. Check the credits of your favorite superhero movie or TV show. You might see the Georgia Peach logo. Huge blockbusters from the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Hit shows like The Walking Dead and Stranger Things have filmed extensively in Georgia. The state can double as New York City, a post-apocalyptic wasteland, or a suburban Indiana town. That film boom has created thousands of jobs, from actors to carpenters, electricians, and caterers. You can even take tours of famous filming locations. But Georgia's fun side isn't just about the movies. Let's talk sports. Every spring, the eyes of the golf world turn to Augusta. This is the home of the Masters Tournament, the iconic green jacket awarded to the winner, the pristine fairways of Amen Corner, and yes, the pimento cheese sandwiches. And for our final fun fact, a literal rock stone mountain. It's famous for having the largest bas-relief carving in the world. The carving is controversial, but the park is a huge attraction. You can hike to the top for an amazing view, or watch the famous laser show projected onto the mountain at night. So, when you put it all together, the global corporations, the world's busiest airport, the booming film industry, the legendary Masters Tournament, and a giant carved mountain, you get a state that's dynamic, surprising, and shaping the future. Georgia is truly a state that has it all. And there you have it. My top 3 most interesting facts: Brasstown Bald MLK Jr. photo, Atlanta skyline, the great state of Georgia. From its incredible natural diversity through its deep and powerful history, to its status as a modern economic and cultural giant, I feel like we've only just scratched the surface. Now it's your turn. What's the coolest thing you know about Georgia? Head down to the comments section right now and let me know. I'm going to be reading through all of them. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today. If you enjoyed this little trip through the Peach State, do me a huge favor and hit that like button, and of course subscribe to the channel so you don't miss our next adventure. Until then, stay curious, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye, everyone.